I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Donald Trump's posts this morning on his social media platform are even more unhinged than normal. He's demonstrating just a complete and utter sense of panic and fear as he attacks Special Counsel Jack Smith, the Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, and other prosecutors. And he even attacks his former Attorney General, Bill Barr. Let's just take a look at these posts by Donald Trump and let's break them down. Here's what Donald Trump posted pretty early in this morning, all caps, by the way. He writes, "I was being framed by the FBI and the DOJ." By the way, if anybody wrote like this that you knew, they'd probably be in an involuntary psychiatric hold. But this is the leader of the modern day Republican Party, who they want to once again have access to our nuclear codes and make life and death decisions for you, your family, your friends, colleagues, coworkers, community, and country. Let's get back into the post. "I was being framed by the FBI and the DOJ. Now it continues with the boxes hoax, the quote perfect phone call in Atlanta, the Manhattan DA, and the New York State AG scam. What a group, but all report to the DOJ in Washington. It's James Comey and the sleazebags all over again. They are playing election interference in 2024 through illegal law enforcement against Republicans, in particular your favorite president, me. These are cheating lowlifes, but we will win. Our country is going to hell." Again, all of this is in all caps. As I said before, if anybody wrote anything like this that you know, I think that you would say this person needs to be on an involuntary psychiatric hold, but this is the leader of the modern day Republican Party. He goes on to lie and claims that everybody reports to the Department of Justice. I mean, just completely and absolutely false. The Manhattan DA, the Fulton County District Attorney, the New York AG, those are state prosecutorial authorities. They absolutely do not report to the DOJ in Washington. And all of these criminal investigations and criminal cases exist because you are a criminal. You engaged in criminal conduct in each of these locations. That is why you are being held accountable. And Donald Trump's panic is also stemming from the fact that earlier in the day, it was reported that Tim Parlatore, Donald Trump's lawyer who was representing him in connection with Donald Trump's theft of thousands of government records, which he concealed at Mar-a-Lago and then obstructed justice, that Parlatore has resigned. And you may recall that Tim Parlatore previously testified before the grand jury in Washington, D.C., in connection with Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation. And Tim Parlatore also wrote a letter to the MAGA Republican-controlled Intelligence Committee in the House of Representatives addressed to MAGA Republican Mike Turner, where Parlatore basically blamed Donald Trump's possession of all of these documents on sloppy record keeping by White House staff and by the General Services Administration, by the GSA. Then Donald Trump did the so-called town hall on CNN where he basically admitted to the criminal conduct and says he took what he took. He's allowed to take it. It automatically becomes declassified, and basically contradicted everything that his lawyer Tim Parlatore put in that letter to the House of Representatives, showing that Parlatore was lying to the House of Representatives and also placing Parlatore in serious potential criminal jeopardy as well if Parlatore told the grand jury in Washington, D.C. lies as well when Donald Trump is contradicting him with what Trump is saying during that so-called town hall. But this is why Donald Trump is panicking, all caps, all lies, and just deranged statements there. Donald Trump's next post was, he writes, "After 50 years of failure, with nobody coming even close, I was able to kill Roe v. Wade, much to the, quote, shock of everyone, and for the first time put the pro-life movement in a strong negotiating position over the radicals that are willing to kill babies even into their 9-month and beyond. Without me, there would be no 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 15 weeks, or whatever is finally agreed to. Without me, the pro-life movement would have just kept losing. Thank you, President Trump. Again, completely deranged that he writes things to himself like, thank you, President Trump. Also just completely false and horrific statements here saying that Democrats and people on the left or radicals want to kill babies. That is simply false and utterly absurd. And then Donald Trump basically says that he is now responsible for requiring women to engage in negotiations over their reproductive health, that he believes that he's the one who should put a woman in the position that she cedes control over her body to the government for the Donald Trump supporters, for the Donald Trump base, to negotiate with them and to ban them from having control over their bodies. Completely and utterly despicable, but the pro-democracy movement and Democrats will certainly be reminding voters of this each and every day until the 2024 election that yes, you did kill Roe v. Wade. Yes, you did kill a woman's right to control her own body and place that in the hands of the government. Completely despicable. But yes, you did it. The MAGA Republicans did it. That is the modern day Republican Party. And that is, by the way, that Republicans are now losing elections across the country because people do remember what you do, what you have done, and what you will do. Here's Donald Trump's next statement. He goes, I only wish that Bill Barr, as the Attorney General of the United States, was able to act. Sadly, he was afraid of the radical left Democrat lunatics and their constant threats against him of impeachment, and was absolutely impotent on the subject of the Durham report. He should have taken strong action. Even more importantly, he did nothing on the massive voter fraud which took place during the 2020 presidential election. Remember, you get nothing from rhinos. An honor to have fired him. And so, despite the fact that Bill Barr did all of Donald Trump's dirty work, get to that in just a moment. The fact that Bill Barr would just not go along with Donald Trump's insane and unlawful conspiracy theories and lies, under penalty of perjury, lies, criminal conduct relating to trying to overthrow the free and fair election in 2020, where Bill Barr drew that line there and said, you know what, I simply cannot justify telling the American people that algorithms were beamed from secret satellites in bunkers in Italy to Venezuela, where somehow Hugo Chavez, who's dead, created a situation where Dominion votes could be changed so that Trump votes would go to Biden. Bill Barr's like, you know what? I'll do all your other dirty work for you. I will completely weaponize this Department of Justice and turn it into your personal legal team. But I can't do that. I won't go that far. And then basically, if you are not, completely in Donald Trump's cult and just agree to all of his lies, he brands you a rhino. He brands you impotent. He brands you weak, because that is what fascists do. And by the way, Donald Trump here is saying that Bill Barr was not strong on the Durham report. The Durham report was ultimately very, very weak because of the fact that there was no facts. There was no evidence. I know MAGA Republicans and large media networks want to spin it as there were these bombshells in there when there absolutely wasn't. At the end of the day, John Durham had two cases that went to trial, a case against Michael Sussman and a case against Igor Dachenko, and in both cases, the jury found both of those individuals not guilty. The two trials that Durham had to actually prosecute crimes he believed took place, which were basically crimes that he claimed involved lying to the FBI, the jury found those individuals not guilty absolutely and utterly very, very, very quickly. But Donald Trump is attacking Bill Barr here. I want you to think that through. So Bill Barr did everything he could to try to cover for Donald Trump. He empowered John Durham, who was once a well-respected United States attorney from Connecticut, basically had Durham destroy his entire reputation for Donald Trump and to investigate the source and origin of why the FBI was interested in Russian collusion with Trump and Russian interference in the election. So the whole point of the Durham report was to go after and attack Donald Trump's enemies and act like, why would there be a FBI investigation into Russian interference with the 2016 election? Well, maybe it was because Donald Trump said, hey, Russia, if you're listening, find me votes. I mean, he said it publicly, and all of his people in his campaign had links. That's why the FBI took it very, very seriously. But John Durham was there to try to attack Trump's political enemies. And at the end of the day, what did Durham do? What did Durham find? Durham's ultimate finding, right? He put a 300-page report. He says that the FBI should have first opened up a preliminary investigation before opening up a full investigation. There's no criminal charges recommended. He's not saying that the accusations against Donald Trump were false or were never accurate in the first place. He's saying that and this is direct quotes from the Durham report, that the FBI acted too cavalierly and didn't have enough analytical rigor in their investigation and did not even recommend any recommendations, anything the FBI should do differently. That was the end of the Durham report. But Durham was brought on by Bill Barr as a weaponization of the DOJ to attack Trump's enemies. And here Donald Trump is going after Bill Barr because Bill Barr did not buy into Trump's 2020 election lies. I mean, completely and utterly insane. Oh, and just on the topic of the Durham report, I got to show you this right here. So this was from this week. This was Alabama Senator Republican Tommy Tuberville. And he talks about the Durham report, in the same kind of terms that Trump does, like the crime of the century here. Okay. And then in this video, you'll see Tuberville say, well, people better be arrested for what's in this report. I'll talk about that after showing you this video. He goes, people better be arrested for what's in this report. And American people should just stand up and say enough is enough, or let's not have elections anymore, he says. So he basically wants to end democracy is what the MAGA Republicans are putting forward. Here, let me show you MAGA Republican Senator from Alabama, Tommy Tuberville. Play this clip.
I can't even talk about it. It's so bad. But if people don't go to jail for this, American people should just stand up and say, listen, enough's enough. Let's don't have elections anymore. I wish there was a special investigation into the voter fraud because it was outrageous what happened. But nobody wanted to look into it because they were afraid they were going to be called out. And so it is what it is. I hate that it's happened.
Okay. I mean, one, how dangerous is that you actually have a MAGA Republican senator? And by the way, lots of MAGA Republicans, the modern day Republican Party, believe this. They believe there shouldn't be a democracy. There shouldn't be elections. Their main influencers like Charlie Kirk, they have these YouTube videos that they promote that basically say, America is not a democracy. I mean, they're pushing like actual fascist views as a major American political party. But here's the thing with Tommy Tuberville also. The whole point of Durham was to recommend that charges be brought. If Durham believed there were crimes, they'd be in the report. If the crime of the century existed, Durham could prosecute that. He can make the recommendations that here are the crimes that need to be prosecuted. He did prosecute 2 cases and brought them to trial, and he lost both of the trials. So again, what you see here is what MAGA Republicans like Donald Trump, why I show you these posts and why I compare them to what Democrats are doing, and just not even Democrats, just pro-democracy people who care about intelligent discourse, is that MAGA Republicans, they're not for law and order. They exist in this extrajudicial fascist fantasy land where they just defame people and spread lies and talk about fake whistleblowers that don't exist, and then the whistleblowers ultimately go missing. And where did the whistleblowers go? They never existed in the first place. That is their world. Just defame, lie, manipulate. And then when they try to bring that into an actual judicial forum, an actual setting with facts and evidence, they can't, because they've actually got nothing here. And all they got is their all caps yelling, ranting, raving. It is bizarre. But that's why we got to call it out. We can't normalize that behavior right there. And that's what we do here on the MeidasTouch Network. So thank you for watching, and make sure you share these videos with friends, family, colleagues, coworkers, anybody you know. The more we get the word out, the better. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers. It's free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and check out the audio podcast of the MeidasTouch. The audio podcast numbers have just been great lately. So thank you. Wherever you get podcasts, just search MeidasTouch Podcast and hit subscribe. All right, hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching this, and have a great day.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.